It means we possess an inherent right to dignity, safety, freedom simply by virtue of our existence. These are not privileges to be earned, but fundamental truths that should protect every single one of us, no matter where we are born, what we believe, who we love. Yet, as we stand here today on November 13th, 2025, this promise feels more fragile than ever. The drumbeat of injustice echoes across continents, a somber reminder that the rights we hold so dear are not universally guaranteed. They are under constant threat, and their defense requires our constant vigilance and unwavering commitment. The scale of this challenge is not a matter of opinion. It is a stark, measurable fact. The World Justice Project reports that more than 5 billion people have unmet justice needs, meaning they cannot access legal help for problems ranging from land disputes, intimate partner violence. Think about that number. It is more than half of the world's population living without the basic protection of the law. This essay is not meant to be a lament, but a roadmap. It promises a clear story to ground us in the human reality of this crisis, and it will lay out 3 concrete, achievable actions we can all champion to fortify the rules that safeguard us all. The fight for human rights is not a distant, abstract battle waged by diplomats in quiet rooms. It is a deeply personal struggle that touches the core of our shared humanity. It is about ensuring a young girl can go to school without fear, that a journalist can report the truth without facing persecution, and that a family can access clean water and health care without being turned away. Before we can strengthen something, we must first understand what it is. So, what exactly are these human rights frameworks we speak of? Imagine them as a blueprint for a safe and just society. They are the intricate and interconnected web of rules, laws, institutions, systems designed specifically to protect the fundamental dignity and freedom of every individual. At the international level, this blueprint includes the Universal Declaration of Human Rights and various United Nations treaties. These treaties are powerful promises to protect rights like free expression, the right to a fair trial, and access to education and health care. These international promises are only as strong as their national foundations. Diagram: how international treaties connect to national laws, courts, and local community support centers. The framework extends into a country's constitution, its laws, and its judicial system. It includes national statutes outlawing discrimination, the courts that provide a fair hearing, and police forces tasked with protecting citizens, not harming them. The blueprint is not just paper and ink. It is also made up of living, breathing institutions. Independent national human rights commissions, non-governmental organizations advocating for the vulnerable, and local community centers, providing direct legal aid and support to those in need. When this entire system works in harmony, it is a beautiful and powerful thing. A person who has been wronged can find a clear path to justice. They can point to a specific law that protects them, find a lawyer to help them navigate the system, and trust that a judge will rule fairly based on the evidence. The framework acts as a shield, deflecting the blows of injustice and abuse of power. Unfortunately, in too many places, this blueprint is ignored, or the structure is built with faulty materials. Frameworks fail when laws have loopholes that allow for discrimination, or when they are written in such complicated language that ordinary people cannot understand their own rights. They crumble when the courts are not independent, when police are corrupt, or when leaders simply decide to ignore their own country's legal and international obligations. The framework becomes a hollow promise, a beautifully drawn plan for a house that was never built. To truly grasp why these frameworks matter, we must move beyond abstract concepts and see the world through the eyes of someone whose life depends on them. Let me tell you about a young woman named Lena. She lived in a small, rural town, far from the capital city where laws are made and debated. Her family worked the land, earning just enough to get by, but they had very little in savings. The village was picturesque, but it lacked the basic infrastructure that many of us take for granted. There was no local health clinic, One day, Lena fell seriously ill with a respiratory infection that required urgent medical attention. The local law, on paper, guaranteed a right to healthcare for all citizens, but it provided no mechanism for how that right could be accessed in remote areas. No mobile clinics, no travel subsidies, no system to keep medicines stocked outside major cities. The human rights framework that was supposed to protect Lena had a gaping hole in it, a blind spot for people living in poverty and in rural communities. Feeling desperate, Lena's father tried to file a complaint with the local authorities, asking for assistance. He was met with indifference and bureaucracy. No designated office handled such grievances, no one to guide him through petitioning for his daughter's rights. He was told these things take time and that there was no budget for special cases. The fear of speaking out was palpable. Challenging local officials could bring repercussions for his family. The system was not just failing to help, it was actively discouraging people from seeking the help they were entitled to. Lena was trapped by the very framework designed to free her. The first and most fundamental pillar is to forge the laws themselves with both clarity and steel. The laws on the books are the very bedrock upon which all other protections are built. If this foundation is weak, ambiguous, or cracked, the entire structure is at risk of collapse. It is not enough to say we support human rights. We must translate that sentiment into precise, robust, and enforceable legal language. These laws must be easy for every citizen to understand, clearly defining who is protected, what rights they hold, and how those rights can be defended. Review national legislation to align with international standards, such as the Convention on the Elimination of All Forms of Discrimination Against Women. Where gaps exist, new laws must be drafted and passed. Address urgent issues: online harassment, data privacy, climate justice, and the rights of displaced persons. A comprehensive domestic violence law should criminalize abuse, fund shelters, mandate police training, and create fast-track courts. Clarity is essential to access to justice. A clear law empowers a worker, protects a tenant, and equips a parent to demand promised resources. Laws must include duties for officials and consequences for inaction or abuse. Easy to comprehend and difficult to ignore. Having clear and strong laws is a critical first step, but without a robust system of enforcement and accountability, a promise is merely a suggestion. We need institutions that monitor compliance, investigate violations, and hold perpetrators accountable without fear or favor. Effective enforcement begins with an independent judiciary and a well-trained, rights-respecting police force. Accountability is bolstered by a free press and a thriving civil society. They must be protected, not persecuted. A national human rights institution can receive complaints, conduct inquiries, report publicly, and recommend reforms, if independent and well-funded. Internationally, mechanisms like the Universal Periodic Review create diplomatic pressure for change. International courts prosecute the most heinous crimes when national systems fail. From local to global, this web of accountability says, violations will not be tolerated and perpetrators will be held responsible. Accountability turns paper promises into lived protections. The third pillar is widespread access and awareness, because a right is not a right if people do not know or cannot defend it. Public campaigns through radio, television, and social media must use simple, accessible language. Education is the first line of defense and should begin early, teaching equality, respect, and inherent worth. Workshops can empower villages to understand rights to land, water, and participation. Tear down access barriers with free or low-cost legal aid, mobile clinics, local help desks, and confidential hotlines. Prioritize those facing the highest barriers. Translate materials, ensure accessible formats, and build culturally sensitive, trusted outreach. By spreading the word and opening every door to justice, we activate people power and strengthen the entire framework. Awareness plus access makes rights resilient, responsive, and real. In an interconnected world, no nation can safeguard human rights in isolation. Pandemics, climate change, economic crises, and mass displacement ignore borders and demand coordinated responses. Strengthening national frameworks is linked to robust international cooperation. Sharing what works saves time and resources. A country can share legislative texts, training manuals, and data with those just starting that journey. Richer nations should support others through financial aid, technical expertise, and capacity building. From independent judiciaries to fair elections, cooperation can seed durable institutions. When governments abuse their own people, international mechanisms investigate, document, seek justice, and apply pressure, even sanctions or humanitarian interventions. Partnerships must respect local context, working with civil society, community leaders, and governments to uphold universal principles locally. Securing freedom is a team sport. No nation can win it alone. While institutions hold formal power, the true engine of progress is people. History shows determined civic action can bend the arc toward justice. In our connected age, the actions of individuals, multiplied by millions, become unstoppable. Students use social media to organize peaceful protests and capture global attention. Local groups document harms and lobby for stronger regulations. Grassroots organizations fill gaps and advocate for reform. Stay informed, share knowledge, sign petitions, donate, and choose ethical supply chains. Volunteer, demonstrate peacefully, and, most importantly, vote to hold leaders accountable. The power is in our hands. We must choose to use it. We have journeyed through the architecture of freedom, from the abstract blueprint of international treaties to the deeply personal story of Lena, whose life hung in the balance of a failing system. The path forward is built on three solid pillars: forging laws with clarity and steel, maintaining an unblinking eye of accountability, and throwing open the doors to justice through education and access. We cannot do this alone. It takes international cooperation and relentless civic action. For leaders, act now. Review and align national laws with universal human rights standards. Create and fund truly independent bodies to monitor and hold power to account. Invest in the infrastructure of justice, the clinics, the health centers, the schools that teach equality. For citizens, educate yourself and others. Raise your voice against injustice, online, in your community, and at the ballot box.
My world shattered that night. Someone broke into my home, the one place I thought was safe. They took things, yes, but they took more than that. They stole my peace of mind. Every creak of the floorboards makes me jump. I look at my neighbors and wonder if I can trust them. I feel a deep ache in my chest. Anger, fear. The police came, they wrote a report, charges, court dates. But no one asked me what I needed. No one asked how to make the fear stop. I need to understand why this happened to me. I need to know if the person who did this sees the damage they caused. Do they know I lie awake at night? Do they know I am afraid in my own house? I need them to hear my voice. I need them to see my face. I need them to understand the harm they created. Punishment alone feels empty. It will not give me back my sense of safety. It will not answer the questions that haunt my quiet moments. I need something more. I need a way to heal from this wound, not just a way to punish the person who inflicted it. I hope to put the pieces of my life back together. I hope to feel safe again in my own home. I want to believe people can change, that harm can be repaired. Maybe if the person who did this could hear my story, something would shift. Maybe if they had to face the real-life consequences of their actions, not just a judge in a robe, they would understand. I am not looking for revenge. I am looking for repair. I am searching for a path that leads away from this constant fear and toward a place of healing and restored trust. This desire for something more than punishment is where restorative justice begins. It starts with the voice of the person who was harmed. It listens to their needs for safety, for truth, and for repair. It recognizes that when a wrong is done, it creates obligations, unpacking the core ideas. Restorative justice is a different way of thinking about crime and conflict. The usual justice system asks 3 questions. What law was broken? Who broke it? What punishment do they deserve? This approach focuses on rules and punishment. It often leaves the victim on the sidelines. The offender is defined by their worst act. The community watches from a distance as the formal system takes over. Restorative justice asks a different set of questions. Who has been hurt? What are their needs? Whose obligation is it to meet those needs? This changes everything. The focus shifts from broken laws to harmed people and broken relationships. The goal isn't just punishment. It's repairing the harm as much as possible. Healing for the victim. Accountability for the offender, peace for the community. This approach is built on a few simple but powerful ideas. The first idea: harm creates obligations. The person who caused the harm must understand the impact and do what they can to make things right. The second idea: victims should have a voice, a right to be heard, to ask questions, to say what they need to heal. The third idea: the community has a role. Supporting both parties. Upholding respect. Upholding safety. Ultimately, restorative justice restores balance. Restore the person harmed to security. Restore them to dignity. Safety is the most important rule in restorative justice. Without a deep and unwavering commitment to safety, the process cannot work. It can even cause more harm. This means the physical, emotional, psychological well-being of every participant, especially the person who was harmed. They must be the top priority at all times. Before any meeting happens, careful preparation must be done. Create a safe container for the difficult conversation. The principle of consent is central to ensuring safety. No one can be forced to participate. The person who was harmed must voluntarily agree to take part. They have the right to say no at any time, for any reason. They also have the right to choose how they participate. They might not want to meet the offender face to face. They could choose to write a letter to be read aloud. They could have a trusted friend or advocate speak for them. Giving the victim control over their participation helps restore agency. A trained facilitator plays a critical role in establishing and maintaining safety. This person is not a judge, but a guide. The facilitator meets with the victim separately. The facilitator meets with the offender separately. They listen to each person's story. They explain the process clearly. They set ground rules for respectful communication. During the meeting, the facilitator ensures rules are followed. No one is shamed, no one is blamed, no one is interrupted. The facilitator's calm and steady presence helps everyone feel secure enough to speak honestly and vulnerably. The restorative meeting, often called a conference or a circle, is the heart of the process. It is a carefully structured conversation designed to allow for truth-telling and problem-solving. It is not an argument or a debate. It is a guided dialogue with a clear purpose: to address the harm and decide together what needs to be done. The structure is simple but powerful. The meeting begins with the person who was harmed. They share what happened and how it affected them. Next, the person who caused the harm responds, acknowledges, and accepts responsibility. Afterward, the group creates a plan: apology, restitution, service, counseling, and writes clear steps everyone agrees on. Accountability in the traditional justice system often means one thing: punishment. It is about serving time, paying a fine, or following probation rules. Often, offenders never face the person they hurt or take personal steps to make things right. This is passive accountability. Restorative justice is active and relational. It asks 3 things: understand impact, take responsibility, take action to repair. This is more demanding than simply accepting a punishment. It requires courage, empathy, and effort, Making amends is the tangible part of this active accountability. If a teen vandalized a park bench, amends can go beyond paying for it. Working with the parks department for a month, writing a respectful apology, completing realistic tasks, related to the harm, respectful to the victim, and achievable for the offender. Active amends can restore self-worth and connection. Studies show restorative processes can lower reoffending by building real understanding of consequences. The power of restorative justice is best seen in small real-life examples. Imagine a group of students who spray-painted graffiti on the wall of a local grocery store. The store owner was angry and felt disrespected. The police caught the students. Instead of juvenile court, they referred the case to a restorative circle. He shared how he built his business and how the graffiti hurt him and scared customers. The students listened, saw him as a person, and one by one apologized. Together, they made a plan. They cleaned the wall and repainted. They worked inside to understand the business. The harm was repaired and a lesson learned. Consider another story, a stolen bicycle. A young woman's only transportation to work was taken. She was devastated. The thief, a teenager from the neighborhood, was caught. In the conference, she described the impact. She had to spend on bus fare and was late to work twice. She felt violated and insecure. He had never thought about these consequences. He stole to help with family bills, not an excuse, but context. He agreed to work part-time at a community center to earn money to pay her back. The director offered the job on the spot. She got her money back. The teen got a job and a mentor, and the community turned harm into an opportunity for growth and connection. Restorative justice is powerful, but it is not a magic solution for every situation. It requires willing participants. If the victim declines or the offender refuses responsibility, it cannot proceed. Severity matters. In cases like murder or severe sexual assault, RJ is complex, risky for re-traumatization, and must be led by highly skilled facilitators. Successful dialogues exist, but are rare. Many programs start with property crime and minor assaults to build trust. Implementing RJ needs training, education, funding, patience, long-term commitment. Access must be equitable, regardless of race, income, or background. The journey toward a more restorative world begins with small, intentional steps. It starts not in a courtroom, but in neighborhoods, schools, families. The first step is to start talking about these ideas. Ask leaders what they're doing to address conflict in ways that repair harm. Build skills, listen better, ask open questions, learn facilitation. Start small, focus on a clear need, train committed community members. Partner with courts and police while maintaining community ownership. Grow steadily, be transparent, and keep equity at the center.